I'm Matt Hartsky with Backbone Unlimited, and today we're talking about a question that every elk hunter faces eventually. When do you pull the plug and move spots? I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about recognizing when you're stuck grinding it out in a dead zone, when it's time to change tactics, and when it's time to move. That decision, knowing when to relocate, can be the difference between punching your tag and heading home empty. This episode is packed with lessons I've learned the hard way of elk hunting on public land for 33 years. I'm going to break down the warning signs, give you tools to make smarter decisions in the field, and share some personal examples that cost me days of my hunt. Let's dive in. Now, let's be real. Nothing drains your morale faster than working your tail off to get into what you thought was a great spot, only to find it's dead. And I'm not just talking about no bugles. I mean, no fresh tracks, no moist piles of poop, rubs that look like they were made mid-August, but nothing fresh, wallows that are clear, they're not muddied up, they haven't been used recently, silence during the prime times of day when there should be talking going on. You can glass, you can call, you can hike 20 miles a day. But if the elk aren't there, you're not going to magically make them appear. Now, I've been there. I've pounded ridges all day, only to realize I was a few drainages off where the action actually was. You can waste days hoping this way instead of hunting. And here's something important. Just because it's good terrain doesn't mean it's good right now. Elk move. You know, I used to hunt early season where the trail cameras told me that there were a lot of bulls hanging out, but the bummer was we would end up hunting there for a couple of weeks and figuring out that there weren't a lot of cows in that area. It didn't have a lot of cows on trail camera. And so when it came down to the rut, the bulls had gone to find the cows. So just because they had been there, doesn't mean that they're going to be there when it matters most, when you're actually there hunting. So they shift with pressure, they shift with feed, weather, and breeding activity. You could be 2 miles from rut mayhem and not even know it. That's the punch in the gut. So let's break down the signs and some of the systems I use now to know when it's time to go. I use a combination of sign, conditions, and instinct to make the call. Here are 10 clear signs it's time to move on. There's no elk seen or heard in the 2 prime windows, early and late. If it's been 2 full mornings and evenings without seeing or hearing a single elk, that's a big red flag. Elk are most active at first light and last light, so if you're not in the game then, you're out of the game. No fresh sign, tracks, poop, rubs, wallows, they all tell a story. If you're only seeing old sign, that means they were there, doesn't mean that they're still there. If you're not getting any vocal response, some days are quieter than others, but if you're in the good elk country during the rut and it's dead silent morning and evening, there's a really good chance that they're not there, at least not here in Wyoming. Human pressure everywhere. If you keep running into boot tracks, ATV noise, or camps, odds are you're sharing a ridge with other hunters, and guess what? Elk don't like crowds. Is there bad wind or thermals? If the wind in your zone constantly swirls or pulls wrong, your odds of getting in clean are slim. I've got a full video up here you should check out if you need help to better understand wind and thermals. If your water has gone dry, this one catches a lot of people because if the water hole on your onX map dried up over the summer, elk have likely relocated. If there's no feed, even though it may have looked grassy at some point on the map, if there's no fresh grasses or forbs, the elk are probably moved on. Feed is king. There's elk sign, but it doesn't match the season. If you find older poop or beds in mid-September, that tells me they've already moved on for rut behavior, probably looking for cows, right? Right sign, wrong time. Are there seasonal weather changes? Early snow, Is there a spike in heat? Those can push elk higher, lower, or deeper into cover. Also pay attention to your gut. If your gut tells you something's off, this is big. If you just feel like something's wrong, trust it. Every time I've ignored my gut in this way, it has cost me time when I should have switched spots. Now let's talk about how to move smart. Let's say you pull the plug. Good. Now let's talk about how to move with purpose. Step one, have backups before you ever step foot on the mountain. I always have at least 3 to 5 spots scouted, right? Backups for your backup, fallback zones ahead of time. Every backup spot needs to be 1 to 2 hours max from your current location. Have food, cover, and water for the elk. It's got to show past elk activity and offered varied elevation for the elk. They like to change those elevations and have those options. Step 2, move midday. Never move during prime time at either end of the day. Use late morning to early afternoon to relocate. Elk are bedded and you're not burning one of your hunt windows. Step 3, scan your exit and entry. Look for thermals. Check wind every few hundred yards. Glass each basin before committing. If you go in blind and just rush in there, you're already losing. Step 4, if you're going to move on foot, hunt while you move. Just because you're relocating doesn't mean you're off the clock, right? Keep your bow ready, cow call occasionally, glass benches and shadows. Always be ready. Don't want to miss an opportunity. Step 5, camp light and stay mobile. So if you're hunting with your camp on your back, you got to be a nimble hunter. That's a lethal one. Keep your camp minimal, ready to pivot. Again, if the next zone doesn't pan out and you've got to move on somewhere else. I treat every relocation like it's a new hunt. Fresh eyes, full focus, before, during, after the move. All right, time to flip the script. Let's say sometimes the worst move you can make is bailing too soon. Why would you bail too soon? Here's when you should stay put. You're seeing or hearing elk, but just haven't closed the deal. They're there. You just blown it. Doesn't mean you necessarily need to move. You've got fresh tracks or poop in the last 12 hours. Bugles are sparse, but they're there. Great sign. You've got water, feed, and bedding are close to one another. You've got a great area that way where you've got the triad of the most important elk habitat needs. And the wind is consistent and huntable. Another great reason to keep sticking it out. I've had hunts that didn't turn on until day 4, but the signs said that they were there, and I trusted that. You can't panic and bounce every time the action goes quiet if there's elk around. Sometimes more pressure in the area, even if it isn't hunting pressure, like a whole bunch of ATV noise on Labor Day, for instance, that'll make those elk hold tighter and they'll be quiet for a few days. So make sure that you're not bailing and you're giving that window enough time. Also, remember that some bulls are patternable. If you are seeing sign in the same zone, the same time of day, stay, pattern, figure it out, be there, and try to take advantage of the pattern. Now, let's flip the script again. Let's say that you moved. Now what? Try to recalibrate immediately. You've got to check current weather. You've got to confirm your elevation zones. You've got to map wind flow. You've got to recheck the local pressure. Are there other roads around? If somebody moved in from somewhere else that you didn't know about and know where they're at, scan for glassing points and understand what the thermals are in your new spot. You've got to start slow. Move into the new area like elk are already there and all around you. Don't charge in and blow it. Let it breathe, glass from afar, drop in quietly, and look for sign. Set up trail cameras if time allows. Now, if you're mid-hunt, I understand this can be tricky. But if you're on a multi-week hunt and you're not seeing what you want and you have the ability to toss up a few trail cameras and you're going to be staying there for a while, those can give you the answers that you're looking for. Refine based on the first movement. Did you see a cow? Did you see a group of cows in a meadow? Track their line. Did you hear a bugle? Map its direction. Try to figure out that area right there between you and that bugle. What are the thermals like? What's that terrain like? Where's the water feed and bedding area? Set up for tomorrow like a kill is coming. Don't scout all evening and crash. Pick the best travel corridor, the best wind slope, and be in there at the right time, before daylight and before those evening hours start. The key is don't let the frustration of moving create sloppy setups. Reset like your hunts depend on it, because it does. Now here's the bottom line. Elk aren't static. If you want to kill more elk, you have to stay adaptable, mobile, and tuned in. Know when to move, know when to stay, and most importantly, have the plan to make either decision count. This mindset of hunting with purpose, based on the best current elk information in an area, has changed everything for me. If this message landed for you, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment. What's one time you stayed too long or moved too soon? And if you want help dialing in your backcountry plan, head over to backboneunlimited.com and check out the Team Backbone membership. I would love to connect with you there. Train harder, hunt smarter, never settle.